Slash is often remembered for the top hat, long curls, Les Paul, and unmistakable sound that helped define an era of rock. But those images only tell part of the story. His real legacy is not simply about the songs he played or the stages he stood on. It is about what happened after his sound became recognizable. How did one guitarist influence an entire generation? And why does his style still matter decades later? To understand Slash's lasting impact, we have to look beyond Guns N' Roses and into the way guitar playing changed around him. When the band became a major force in rock, Slash brought back something that had started to disappear from the mainstream: the idea that a lead guitarist could have a strong personality without making every performance about technical perfection. His playing was melodic, expressive, and instantly recognizable. He could build a guitar solo around a simple musical idea and make it feel memorable. That quality became one of the most important parts of his identity. But that wasn't the full story. Slash also understood the importance of contrast. His guitar could sound powerful, but he knew when to leave space. He could create a memorable riff and then step back so the vocals could take the spotlight. His solos often felt like another part of the song rather than something placed on top of it. That approach helped make his playing accessible even to listeners who were not guitar experts. For young musicians discovering rock in the late 1980s and 1990s, Slash became a visual and musical symbol of the guitar itself. His Les Paul, amplifier tone, stage presence, and playing style created an image that was easy to recognize. But behind that image was a musician who had spent years studying the traditions that came before him. He drew inspiration from blues, classic rock, and earlier guitar heroes. Instead of simply copying those influences, he combined different elements into something personal. Few people noticed how important that combination would become. As music changed, Slash continued moving between different projects and collaborations. His career showed that a guitarist could remain connected to classic rock while still finding new audiences. This became especially important because guitar music was constantly changing. New production styles appeared, musical trends shifted, and technology became more important. Yet Slash continued to approach the instrument in a relatively direct way. The guitar remained the center of the conversation. What happened next helped strengthen his legacy even further. Slash became an example of how recognizable musicianship can survive changes in popular culture. Younger guitarists could hear his influence in the way they approached riffs, bends, vibrato, and solo construction. But perhaps the biggest lesson was simpler. You do not need to play the most complicated thing possible to make people remember you. You need a voice. That idea is at the heart of Slash's legacy. There are thousands of technically impressive guitarists and countless players who can perform difficult solos. But only a smaller group can play a few notes and immediately create a recognizable identity. Slash belongs to that group. His influence also extends beyond guitar technique. He helped keep the image of the rock guitarist alive for a new generation. At a time when music was becoming increasingly diverse, he represented a connection to the classic combination of guitar, rhythm, melody, and live performance. And there is another part of his story that is easy to overlook. Slash's legacy was never created by one person alone. The musicians around him, the songwriters, producers, singers, and bands that influenced him all became part of the bigger picture. His achievement was taking those influences and turning them into something that sounded unmistakably personal. That is why his impact continues. When young guitarists pick up a Les Paul and experiment with a blues-inspired solo, they are not necessarily trying to become Slash. They are often discovering the same idea that shaped his career. The guitar can have a personality. That may be the real meaning of his legacy. Slash did not simply preserve an older style of rock guitar. He helped carry its spirit into a new generation. His influence can be heard whenever a guitarist chooses emotion over excess, melody over complexity, and identity over imitation. The top hat may be the image people remember first. The guitar may be the sound they recognize immediately. But the deeper legacy is much more lasting. Slash showed that a guitarist does not need to constantly reinvent the instrument to make history. Sometimes, the most powerful legacy comes from finding your own voice and staying true to it long enough for generations of listeners to recognize it.